This is Ron Klopfenstein, and we're in the hot seat on a media. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the hot seat on this Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfenstein, and if anybody ever asks me what my favorite season is, I have no problem answering. My favorite season is the new fall TV season. So every year there's all these great new shows, network, cable, primetime, streaming, and local as well. My guest today is former Congressman Katko, who has just launched a new show himself on WCNY, which is our local PBS affiliate, and his show is called Balancing Act. And he's joining me today on the show to talk about the show and talk about the process of putting together a show like that and some of his plans for media. So, Congressman Katko, welcome to Hot Seat Media Monday.
Thank you, my friend. It's glad to be here.
So why don't you tell the viewers or the listeners about Balancing Act, what it is, what the idea is, and what you're going to do with the show?
Sure. I mean, obviously, if anybody looks at news nowadays, I mean, one of the biggest things people say is that they can't trust the sources being unbiased or balanced. Back in the day, the worst thing you could call a newscaster or reporter is biased, and now it seems to be the norm. So this show kind of seeks to kind of balance that out a bit and bring personality and fresh perspectives and avoiding all the usual bickering you see on political newscasts these days. And we have 6 segments. It's really fun. We got a kind of a circus theme to it, tongue-in-cheek, and we end on a high note with a comedian doing a little satire at the end. So it's intended to be fast-paced. It's intended to be informative. It's intended to be balanced. But it's also intended to be fun, and I'm having a good time with it so far.
Yeah, I just watched the first episode on WCNY.org, and I was going to say it's incredibly well-paced. It goes by quick, and it really does have kind of a fun theme. I kind of like the circus theme, and it makes sense with the whole balancing act thing with the trapeze and the comedian. And I'm wondering, how did you come up with when you were developing the show? Did you work with people at WCNY to come up with those ideas or the concepts, or how did you? What was the process by which you kind of put this project together?
Well, it's actually kind of funny. A couple of months ago, I gave a talk at a local establishment in Syracuse, and I had about 100 people there, and a lot of members of the business and government community. And since I left Congress after 8 years last term, I'm a little less shackled, if you will. So I was talking very frankly about the state, the current state of national politics, and how bad it is, and how broken it seems, and how upset people are, and how basic it is that you just gotta, nobody wants to hear either side of the story other than their own. They just want to hear what they want to hear, basically, and that's why news has become so segmented. And we kind of got talking, and then turns out a PBS fellow was in the audience. He came up to me afterwards. He goes, "We got to do a TV show," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
Wow.
And he was serious.
Yeah.
So we sat down, my wife and him and some other executives at PBS, and kind of had some coffee and a beer, and then we kind of hatched the show, and it came pretty naturally. And the circus theme is kind of meant to show that, current state of politics is like a 3-ring circus. It's chaotic, it's crazy, and fraught with peril. And so we want to kind of break through that and do some things and have some discussions that you might not see in other shows. And so far, it's been pretty well received, and we're pretty excited.
So how do you go about getting guests for the show?
Well, we get guests in one number of different ways. I have a lot of friends in Congress, though, because I wasn't a knucklehead my opponents on the other side, and I tried to work with them because I think you get more flies with honey, And
Yeah.
so I think it's, my mother always said, treat people like you want to be treated. So sure. I treated them like that, even when we disagreed on 90% of the issues. The ones we could agree on, we worked together and did good things. And that's one of the reasons why I got a lot of bills passed. And so I have a lot of friends on that side of the aisle. I have a lot of friends in Congress, and so that's kind of a part of it. So we will have members on the show from Congress and from state and local government as well, from governors on down. And we had one of the House Majority Leader last term was on my show, the first episode, and 2 members of Congress. And, everything down to issues-oriented things. Let's say like, next generation nuclear power is becoming a big thing, and so
Yes.
we're going to do a show on that, talk about the pros and cons, and it's carbon neutral and etc. And we're going to have people that are knowledgeable in the industry. But here's the most important part. The most important part is we're going to have a very balanced reporting of any issue. So for any issue, we are going to have what's called the trapeze section, and that is, trapeze by nature is dangerous, and it's by nature supposed to be exciting. But we want to get a segment in there where you're hearing from advocates on both sides of an issue. For example, the pro-nuclear and anti-nuclear folks are going to get on, and they're not going to scream and yell at each other. And this isn't like the Jerry Springer show, but we're going to have a discussion where you're going to hear not one side on an issue, but both sides, and that's what we're going to do with anything we try to do with this show.
I noticed that it does have the balanced note that you wanted to strike, and it really is still fun. So I'm wondering, like, how did you get the comedian? Was that an idea that you had, or is it someone that you knew, or what role will the comedian play?
We have some really good young talent at PBS, and they're terrific. And somebody said, "Yeah, we got to do the last segment." It kind of started with my wife, actually. She thought something to kind of hold accountable people that are saying crazy things, really crazy things, or doing really crazy things, like. The governor, the guy running for Republican governor in North Carolina, being on a porn site, telling him he wants to be a black Nazi or whatever he said, and it's crazy stuff like that.
That is a pretty crazy thing.
And we don't want to call people out.
Yeah.
But we do want to kind of highlight some of the things that really make you take a step back and kind of chuckle at yourself, like that was crazy. So.
And it's good to do it with humor too, I think.
And it kind of developed from there to let's have a comedian on, and let's have a comedian have some fun in a tongue-in-cheek way where he's not like hammering people, but just kind of making light of people, things people say that they probably shouldn't.
It's a really good way to make a point, with humor. I'm wondering, like, this is a kind of a different thing for you. For many years, you were a politician, so you're probably very used to being interviewed yourself and dealing with the media, from the other perspective. And now you are part of the media. Now you're doing the interviews, asking the questions. Can you give me some insight to like what it feels like to go from kind of like one side of things to the other side?
Well, I can tell you this much: it's a heck of a lot easier doing the interview instead of
you think so?
The person interviewed.
I always feel the opposite. So why is that?
Fun and it's I get to really lean heavily on my own prosecutor skills. In Utica, I tried cases there for 15 years, major police corruption and organized crime and international crime cases in that beautiful Utica courthouse. And that really helps you when you're an interviewer because you're constantly basically interviewing people on the witness stand.
True, so you kind of did this thing
story,
before.
staying within the rules, and got to be calm, you got to be cool, your questions can't be part of the answer, and
True.
That's lost on so many people in the media these days that, quite frankly, it's coming very natural to me, but it's also been very, very fun to do. And I'm a big believer in letting the witnesses talk.
Mm-hmm.
And witnesses, go back to those days of prosecutor, letting the guests on the show talk and letting them make their thing. I think people in the media nowadays far too often think they have to be part of the answer, part of the show, and their job, which is a lost art, I think, is to just let other people. You're reporting the news. You're not becoming the news, right? And I understand that profoundly, and I want to help America get back to that. So that's why I'm doing it the way I am, and I'm letting the people talk, and I think it's informative. Like you said, it's fast-paced because there's not this argument and nastiness and people talking over each other. Nobody wants to see that garbage after a hard working day. So we make it more informative and in a fun, fast-paced environment.
You definitely have a knack for this. So I was wondering like where you got that from, and it would make sense. If you try a case, you're kind of presenting to a jury or to a judge, and so you have kind of done this thing before. But I wanted to ask you too, like, you were you did prosecute organized crime. So I'm wondering, like, when you transition from that, I imagine like when you're doing that, you try to keep maybe like a lower profile and kind of like with a high regard for your personal safety and stuff. And then when you transition from that to politician, you kind of have to put yourself out there and open yourself up more. Was that hard to go from like, prosecuting or, organized crime to like, being out there yourself, putting yourself kind of on the line a bit?
Oh yeah, I mean, here's the hardest thing, right? When you're a prosecutor, there's prosecutors and there's bad guys, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually, at least up until recently, prosecutors were held in high regard, just like law enforcement was. And so you were wearing the white hat, and you're getting the bad guys. And so it's kind of a binary choice. You're going to support the good guy or the bad guy.
Right.
You almost everyone wanted to support the good guy, so it was easy to be a prosecutor. It was fun, and it was challenging, and it was absolutely, positively 100% dangerous.
Yes.
Too. I
So I
have
was
more
thinking.
threats than I could care to talk about. And it had a profound effect on myself and my family. But when you went to Congress, that line is completely blurred.
Right.
And even if you're there for doing all the right things, and I was trying to do all the right things, and I didn't engage in a lot of the nastiness and bombastic stuff that people do. And I tried very hard to do the right thing. Didn't matter. If you voted the way that somebody didn't like, you're getting death threats, you're getting all kinds of very serious threats that required a lot of personal safety issues for your family and you. And so you got to be careful on all that. And
Well,
that was a profound difference.
Just being in
And that was
Congress.
one of the hardest things to understand, that even when you're doing the right thing, people are going to hate your guts, and that was hard.
Yeah, so you experienced that in Congress as well. I mean, I would have been, imagined that, like prosecuting organized crime, but in Congress you had death threats and stuff too.
As many as I had when I was a prosecutor, and I had a tremendous number, it was far worse in Congress. Far worse. Far more serious, and especially after January 6th, it was very, very bad. And it's kind of like the state of politics now, and that's kind of getting back to the impetus for the show.
Right.
One of the impetuses for the show was to kind of try and cool the rhetoric and kind of get people to understand that, look, everywhere in our lives, there's compromise.
Right.
If you have a personal relationship, there's not a day goes by we're not compromising everything from who's taking out the garbage or who's making dinner to whatever, right?
Yeah.
And in your business relationships, every day is a compromise. Nobody gets 100% out of every business deal. Nobody gets 100% out of every personal relationship, yet politics, especially on a national level, has come to shirts and skins. You're either with me, agree with me, or I hate your guts. And now I'm going to hate your guts, I'm going to do you harm. And that's really what we're trying to bridge that gap by trying to say that, look, I want you to look at the other side of something that you may not believe in or agree with, but understand that that person's not the enemy. That person just has a different point of view. That's okay to have that. I mean, we need to get back to that. I mean, you look at people like Ronald Reagan came into office in 1980, and everybody thought he was going to start World War III, and he was a crazy conservative, and he was going to do all these horrible things. And the first thing he did was have dinner twice with Tip O'Neill and his wife. Tip O'Neill had control of the House. He's a hardcore Boston liberal, controlled the House of Representatives, and he had dinner with their families, had dinners twice before he even was sworn in, and they ended up doing wonderful things together, like tax cuts and tax reforms and Social Security reform, if you can imagine, and immigration reform, if you can imagine.
It's hard to imagine.
Today, this doesn't seem possible, but we need to get back to those days. I think we can with the right leadership, but it's right now it's lost, and one of the reasons why I want to do this show.
So let me ask you now, before people go on your show, before people come on my show, I often talk to them and kind of prepare them for it and give them a pep talk and stuff. Do you do anything to talk to your guests to prepare? If some of your guests are politicians, I suppose they have a lot of experience with this. But what do you tell people when you approach them about your show? What do you tell them about your show, and what do you tell them to try to get them to come on your show?
Well, we just, first of all, being nice to people pays off because they want to help you out and they want to come on. And if the show does well and starts getting its traction nationally, they're naturally going to want to come on because they can use it for their own benefit and, social media and what have you. So that's an easy part. But also, I don't tell them what I'm going to ask them or anything other than to say, look, you're one of the foremost experts on clean energy and nuclear energy issues. And you're pro nuclear energy, so we want to have you come on and have a discussion with an individual who's anti-nuclear, and have a respectful discussion. And we're going to let them talk. We're going to let you talk, and we're not going to let either one of you get out of control or get personal. He just wants to come on, and I think people are kind of like, man, that's kind of refreshing. I don't have to worry about saying something really stupid. I can just state my point and let them state their point, and the chips fall where they may.
Without kind of like the confrontational, the adversarial, gotcha kind of thing. It is a nice
Right.
change.
And I would say to them, this is not a show where there's going to be a gotcha moment. We don't do that. And let's just say that people believe that, and we're showing it already. We're not having those gotcha moments. I think it's refreshing for people. Like I said before, you come home after a long day and you're working your butt off, and inflation's high, and it's rough for a lot of people to make ends meet, and gas is still high, and food is way more higher than it used to be. The last thing I have to come home after a tough day is to see people screaming and yelling at each other, acting like knuckleheads.
True.
And if you can get informed on the issues without that, I think that's very appealing to people. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're getting a very positive response so far.
I was going to say, after I watched the first episode, that it did seem like a show that could be for a national audience. Is that the goal? It definitely seems like it applies to more than Central New York.
Of course it's a goal.
Yeah.
And the more people we can touch with this show, the more we can get out there that, hey, you don't have to hate the other person. I talk to people, even in my own family. The husband is pro-Trump and the wife is pro-Harris or Democrat, and it's getting to the point where they're having very serious and troubling arguments.
Yeah.
That's not the way it should be. It's like anything else, okay? You like salt, you like hot peppers on your pizza, and I don't. Okay, that doesn't have to hate your guts.
Right.
It's the same thing,
True.
So, and we got to get back to that. If the show can have a national audience, it'd be I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see when I watched it, I was thinking it would be kind of focused on like stuff that had to do just with our area, but it definitely has, it's something that people could watch from around the country and relate to it because the issues are nationwide. So I hope that happens because it really is a good idea to bring people together with media. That's what I'm all about too.
From your lips to God's ears, brother.
Yeah, thanks. So why don't you tell me when can they see Balancing Act on TV, and where can they see it online?
Sure, it's on TBS on Friday nights at 8:30. We're going to have about 5 more weeks of it, and then they're going to decide by January whether it's going to go national, and that's what we hope. And so you can catch it on Friday nights at 8:30, or you can just go to news at WCNY.org.
Yep.
And you can find our show. It's called Balancing Act.
And there's so many.
You can get led to episodes from there.
Well, Congressman John Katko, thank you for your time. Good luck with the show. I hope it goes national too, and I hope our listeners check this out at WCNY.org. You can watch the shows that have already aired, or you can watch new episodes Friday at 8:30 on our local PBS affiliate, WCNY, and hopefully soon you can see that nationwide as well. You can see nationwide now if you go to the website, but hopefully it'll be on more stations and the message will spread, and it's really a good way to, we do need to restore some of the balance in politics, I think.
Yeah, it's okay to disagree, and that's what we're trying to prove with this show.
Well, that's the good way to put it. So thank you, and good luck with your show. You're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. This is 95.5 FM The Heat. I'll have more after this break. This is Ron Klopfenstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the hot seat on this Media Monday. Fall is such a great time of the year, not just for the leaves and the candy and Halloween and Thanksgiving, but also because, like, for entertainment, it's such a great time. All the new fall shows and the premieres and big blockbuster films. And, well, one of the movies that was supposed to be a big hit for the fall was Joker, Folie à Deux. That is the sequel to the first Joker movie, and it was expected to be it actually was expected to be, I think, a bigger hit than the first because Lady Gaga is among the cast, and as many of you probably know, it is not a hit. It's actually kind of a bomb. But I'm talking to Nabil Kahn today. He was a fan of Joker too, so I want to hear from him. Like, what is it about it that, like? Well, first of all, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, Ron?
It's going good. So tell me. So I haven't seen it, but tell me, like, what is it like, the Joker 2?
All right, so Joker 2, kind of like what you said, Joker 2 is getting a lot of heat right now. And the irony behind that is Joker 1 was the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time
Right.
until Deadpool Wolverine came out.
Right,
So,
right.
you know, big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
So, a lot of what's kind of hurting Joker 2, and it, you know, kind of depends from person to person, but it has a lot of musical elements.
I was
And
wondering
for
about
some
that.
for some people, you know, that's not doing it, and they kind of don't want that in a Joker movie.
I would think like, you know, I mean, you saw the film, but like, other than the music part, is it pretty like consistent with what the first one was like in terms of tone and, you know, quality and stuff?
I would say overall, yes, and I'm not 100% sure where all the heat's coming from. You know, sometimes in this day and age, you get people that like come out on the internet and they decry something, and a lot of other people, you know, who also haven't seen it, you know, just kind of rally behind them, like, oh, well, I heard that's bad, even though I haven't watched it for myself.
I kind of think
And,
it must be the music because that's the only aspect that's, you know, different than the first. So, you know, it's the actor's the same, and you know they have even bigger name now with him. You know, Lady Gaga's on the show, and
Yeah,
on the
I mean,
movie,
like you said, yeah, Lady Gaga's in it. I think she plays a really good Harley Quinn. Very
Right.
different take than like, you know, your Margot Robbie or anybody else
Yeah.
you might have seen in the role. And you know, she's definitely kind of like a little more sinister, a little bit more calculating than you would think. And I thought she portrayed that great. I think she kind of got overshadowed a little bit though. So
well,
that might be another point where people are a little upset.
could be. I mean, how much music is in the film?
Like her or.
Well, I mean, could you call it a musical? Is there so much that maybe it's like taking away from the story, or?
So here's the way I've kind of explained it to a couple people. It's a 2 hour and 18-minute movie, right?
Yeah.
And even if there's 10 musical numbers at 3 minutes a pop, that's still only 30 minutes out of 2 hours and 18. To me,
Right.
a musical is half or more than half.
True. Yeah.
So that's why I describe it as it has musical elements,
Yeah.
but at 30 minutes, that's not even half of half.
Right.
So-
Right. Now, have you talked to other people who saw the film too? What did they think?
Like you kind of pointed out, most people are really not loving it.
Yeah.
So here's the reason why I'll tell you why I do like it, which maybe that'll be a little bit of a different thing than you'll hear.
Yes, please tell us.
It's a full circle story from what starts in Joker 1 and what ends in this one. And there's definitely some clues that they plant, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
Right.
But there's a very like shocking thing that happens at the end of the movie.
Okay.
And I think depending on what you were looking for out of the movie, some people might be like a little like
Turned
put
off
off
by
by
that.
it, and other people like me were like, wow, that's something that was very surprising that I didn't think I was going to see.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I wonder too, like if, you know, nowadays, I think if a movie comes out and there's
Yeah.
any amount of bad buzz, I think a lot of people kind of bail and think, well, I'll just wait like a few more weeks and it'll be on, we'll stream. So I wonder if like that's
Right.
part of the issue too. It's like it's just goes so fast to streaming that like you might think, well, I'll just wait a week, you know, and see it on there.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately,
I
like,
mean,
you know, it hurts the
I was
buzz.
going to say, like, even if people wait for streaming on this one, I would still 100% recommend watching it so people can form their own opinions.
Oh, of course.
You know,
right.
I don't think it's going to get saved at the box office at this point, but
No.
people should still see it and see what they think for themselves.
What did you think about the acting? Do you think that like it's going to get Oscar nominations like the first one did?
I mean, I think Joaquin's great, man. Like,
Right, yeah.
if you had asked me if he was
Yeah.
going to be a good Joker before the first one, I would have been like, hell no. And now
But he
it's
certainly
hard for me to
was.
think of who the next one's going to be.
Right, right. And Lady Gaga is an Oscar nominee herself, and she definitely knows.
Again, yeah. Also, she like plays a very different Harley Quinn than people expect, and I
Right.
think, you know, in some ways that's good. Like you don't want someone to do the exact same thing you've seen somebody else do. You know, you want their own fresh take.
Right, because these characters have been around for decades, and it is good to see like how a different, especially a performer who like people are sort of familiar with, like her, like you actually want to think like, what will she do with this part? And I'm surprised that more people didn't come out to find out.
Yeah, and if you watch, they've had a couple interviews like circulating with her and Joaquin, and like he says it too. He's taken aback by how she's playing the role, and he kind of had to like do double takes on some of the scenes because he's like, oh wow, he's like, sorry, I was he's like, you caught me off guard.
Yeah. Now I haven't seen it. You said that there was kind of a twist at the end. That we don't want to reveal that, but
Yeah.
is there would there have been like a Joker 3, or is this like or did like the narrative kind of like preclude that even before the film?
They
didn't
could.
go well?
It would probably be a very tonally different movie than 1 and 2 were.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's doubtful that they would try with the musical elements, even whatever limited.
Yeah, I do believe the director said that he is done writing for DC or working with DC, until another project comes along. So I would say like they kind of put a period, but you do definitely have to like watch it and decide how you want to take the ending.
Yeah. Now, what is it that you think, like, what is it that makes the bad guy in these films or like in the comic strip, like in DC or Marvel, what is it that makes it so that, what is the difference between, say, a villain who is an interesting villain in the context of being in the film with the superhero themselves, or like what makes the villain like the Joker able to like sustain a film on their own? What is it like? What makes a good comic book bad guy?
So I think the thing. I mean, I don't know if there's a 100% answer, but I think that's maybe the answer in itself. Like, because the villains are all kind of unpredictable. The heroes, kind of get put into a box for what they can do and what they can't do.
Right.
And a villain like Joker, who's just zany, kooky, sees the rules and he takes a hard step to the right or left of them. That's part of like his appeal, because you don't know what you're gonna see, so you want to keep your eyes peeled for what's gonna happen next.
It does seem that they have a lot of really good villains on the DC side. I sometimes feel like, in terms of as a film goer myself, the Marvel films I kind of find more entertaining, but the bad guys. I mean, all the Batman villains are amazing,
Marvel has definitely got some like hits and misses when it comes to their bad guys. Some are really compelling.
Yeah.
You get your Thanoses and you get your
True.
I mean, and again, this might be like a hot take too. I think Kang from Ant-Man, like with Jonathan Majors, despite his troubles, was an interesting villain. And then you get some that are duds. Like when people mention the movie, you're like, what? Who was the villain again?
Yeah, and I agree with you about King, and I think that the actor got kind of a raw deal. It's kind of unfortunate that how
Yeah,
things played out with him, so.
I'm a little. I kind of wish, like, even if they had to recast him, we would have seen where that was going to go. But
Yeah.
Now we also have some interesting stuff coming from them with them bringing back Robert Downey Jr., who's going to play a villain.
Tell us about that.
He's going to play Doctor Doom.
Yeah, wow, and that's going to be a departure. Iron Man to be, Doctor Doom. How's that
a lot
going
of
to
people
go?
are really speculating on how it's going to happen. If it's just going to be, Tony Stark turned bad, or if he's just going to look exactly like him but be
Right.
a different character. Nobody really knows 100% yet which way they're going.
I think it's a little like it's a really bold choice, and I'm not sure how well that's going to work, because it's he is.
I gotta figure that for Robert Downey Jr. to come back, it was more than the money. It was more about how can you challenge me as an actor when I played this same character 10 times.
True.
And Marvel said, hold our beer, we got away.
Yeah.
Then he came out on stage on Comic-Con, so he must have liked their pitch.
And if anyone can rise to the challenge and to establish themselves as someone new,
that's the hope, right? If he can't do it, then it might be time for Marvel to hit the read.
That's true. Now, what do you think of the current state of the Marvel and the DC films? It seems like not too great. Although Deadpool was a smash.
Yes, yeah, Deadpool was a really good one. So that, I think, definitely like revitalized things for any of the Marvel fans that were waiting for a hit.
Yeah, right. But otherwise,
I actually just ordered my copy on Blu-ray the other day.
Ah, cool. That is a really great film,
Yeah.
But otherwise, I sometimes wonder if the market's too saturated. What do you think about that? There's so many of them.
I don't disagree. I mean, as a fan, I'm excited for everything that they want to give me. But if the trade-off is quality over quantity,
Right.
I would take like 2 hero movies a year at good quality over 4 that were mixed.
Absolutely. And one of the things we spoke about this a little bit before, and you said you haven't had a chance yet to watch the new Agatha series on Disney Plus. But one of the things with Agatha all along is that like it actually is the budget is relatively low, and they actually use like an actual physical set. And I've been watching every episode, and it's like it has so much depth and complexity, and you can tell that like a lot of with all those shows, it's WandaVision was the same thing. They put so much into the characters, into the scripts that I sometimes wish that with the films. Maybe they would do that a little more often too. Maybe come back.
And that's funny. It's funny when that happens. When they think they can't pitch it to a wide audience, they make it a show, and then it turns out the show's a hit. I'm sure the people at Disney are always hedging their own bets about what they think will go and what won't. But I'm definitely excited for that show to be done, so I can binge it and maybe come back and talk to you about that one on the next time.
Absolutely. So is that what you're waiting for till it's all up so you can watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I've played Marvel's game before, and they always like they'll string us along with like some nice cliffhangers and stuff, and I'm like, I'll wait. I'll wait and get this full picture.
Every episode ends with a cliffhanger, and it is I could not wait to binge because I've been waiting since Wanda. It's been like I think about 3 years now, even more than it perhaps. So it's like we waited a long time for this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
I mean, they've announced they announced that show a while ago, and it changed names like 4 times too.
It did. It was going to be Harkness, Covenant of Chaos for a while, or House of Harkness, and so that's what I was looking forward to, in this genre. How about you? Like, what are you looking forward to that's coming up in DC or Marvel in the superhero field?
So in about a week, we've got another Marvel. It's not the main Marvel. It's like Marvel Sony, but they've got a Venom 3, Venom: The Last Dance.
I just saw the trailer for that when I went to see the Saturday night. Saturday night.
I'm excited for that. And then early next year, we've got Captain America 4 with Sam Wilson and what do we got? Harrison Ford is going to be a Red Hulk.
That's really interesting. What do you think about that?
I'm sad that they had to recast William Hurt, but unfortunately he passed on. Right. So I'm curious to see how Harrison Ford's going to step into the role.
It's so interesting. I think it's so nice to see like some of these actors who have like are Harrison Ford is known for like his adventure films and stuff, but a lot of these actors like who are known for like the really prestigious acting stuff. It's so great to see like when they step into these roles too, because they have a lot of fun with them, and also they really add a lot of gravitas, I think, to these films.
Yeah.
Like
I'm sure somebody at Disney had a fun time pitching that to, and they're like, "We'll let you do we'll let you do the 50 Indiana Jones, but you're gonna be a Hulk."
Right.
And he laughs, and they're like, "No, we're serious."
Yep. Can you see some of these people like with these shows? Helen Mirren has been in superhero films, and there's an actress named Miriam Shore who was in she, I don't know, a lot of people might not be familiar with her, but she's a character actress, and she was in Deadpool, right? She was in Deadpool.
Helen Mirren was?
No, Miriam Shore. She was one of the you don't even know who she is too, but like she's a really, it's really great to see like these like really good character actors take on these parts.
Who did she play? Was she Cassandra?
I'm blanking right now, and my phone is recording the show, so I can't even look it up. But she was just in the Deadpool movie, a small part. But she's someone who like I'd like to see more.
Oh, okay. She probably worked in the TVA then.
Yes. Right. Yes, yeah. So I sometimes find it a little. I mean, that kind of leads me to my question here. I find it hard at times to keep track of all this stuff. Yeah. How do you do that?
I mean, that's crazy. Like, I'm not sure how they like decide how they want to coordinate some of these big people into the roles they give them.
How do you do that?
Me?
As a viewer, yeah.
How do I do? Keep track of it all?
Yeah, right.
Oh, geez, that I don't have an answer for. It's just I don't think I've run out of storage in my brain yet. One of these days, I'm sure I'll start forgetting.
Start to forget stuff. Well, I watched General Hospital for 52 years.
Oh, Sonny Corinthos?
So I know what it's like to have like your hard drive filled up with storylines and characters from the past.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you just gotta enjoy it for what it is, and sometimes you do forget. Like, who was it? You can look it up on your phone and stuff, and it's
that's totally true.
And really, that's what film is for, to enjoy it, and I think that's what these movies do. So.
Well, with movies, sometimes they make you second guess too. Like when they record
Yeah.
a part with somebody, and then it might get cut, and then you're like spending the whole movie looking for them.
Right.
Deadpool 3 is another one of those where I don't know if you know, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny in Philadelphia own a soccer team.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, they own a team called it's in Wrexham in England, but so him and Rob were getting ready to do filming, and he's like, I've got to film Deadpool 3. So he told Rob he could film him as one of the TVA security guards, and then they cut it out of the movie because they spent the whole movie looking for him.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That must have sucked for him as well too.
It probably did. I don't know. I'm sure you get paid before they do the editing though. So hopefully, still got a couple bucks out of the deal.
True. Well, Nabil, thank you so much for talking about this. And after you see Agatha all along, you gotta call in so we can talk about that, because I gotta tell you, it is it's really well done.
I would love to. And if I can give you a real quick plug for anybody out there that's looking for anything fun and comic-y and nerdy to do, we've got a big Halloween extravaganza happening at Ravenswood, the comic book store, on October 26th.
Hey, do you want to hold off? Do you want to hold on to the next segment? Can you hold on a few minutes? We can talk about that.
Sure.
Thank you so much. So you hold on. We'll talk about what's happening in Ravenswood after the break. You're in the hot seat on a Media Monday on 95.5 FM The Heat. I'll have more after this break. And except this is Ron Klopfenstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday.
Yeah, that's right.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the hot seat on this Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfenstein, and Nabil Kahn is still on the line. We're talking about the new Marvel, DC, all things comic book, and he's from Ravenswood Comics himself, so they're doing some cool things for Halloween. So Nabil, why don't you tell us about what's happening down there?
Yeah, so usually every year towards Halloween time, we do kind of like a big family, kid-friendly event. And this year it's falling on the 26th. And what it is we give out a bunch of free comics, to the kids. You come in, they're like brand new comics they make specifically for Halloween time.
Wow, like what? Like what are the comics like?
They're going to be like a smattering of like stuff from like DC, Marvel, like anime, Nickelodeon.
Nice.
A little bit of everything, so that way, kids not walking in only have like one choice.
Cool.
There's usually like between like 5 and 10 different titles to choose from.
Yeah. And so what else is,
Oh, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, what else are you guys gonna have on for Halloween?
What's that?
What else were you gonna say? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, you're fine. And then usually we do like a sale too on top of that. We usually do a couple sales a year that are like the bigger ones, like where you get like half off comics and things like that. Yes. And this is one of those times, so sometimes we have customers that kind of like wait to hear that announcement. They're like, it's one of the big sale times, time to go in.
So it'd be October 26th?
Yep, and it'll be running all day. We're open 10 to 5.
And what day does that fall on, the 26th?
Falls on a Saturday this year.
Okay. What else is coming up in comic books? Like, what are the new titles?
Well, for anybody that is looking, we are now the official Lego store of New Hartford as well. So
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh! How does that work?
Come out, we've usually got them right in front of the store.
You guys have
this
Legos
month,
now?
Added Wicked Legos to the store.
Wow! So I didn't know you had those at all. But there's a Wicked set now for Legos.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones. We've got like the Castle, or I think it's a Shiz Academy.
Oh my gosh! So how did you start doing this on Legos there?
So the owner of Ravenswood, Al Durantes, is a big brickhead. He loves Legos.
Me too.
And he just as we're kind of growing and changing, he said, you know what? I think it's time, and we got accredited to be a Lego store, and here we are. We got old Lego sets as well. Some stuff that might be harder to come by, and then brand new ones.
Well, I gotta have you guys back on the show just talk about that too, because I'm a brickhead too. I love those things, and that was my favorite toy as a kid. I still love them. I'd like to go to the Lego store when I go to Disney or places, and it's amazing what you can make out of those things. So,
Definitely.
What's been the feedback among like your customer base? Are they excited about that too?
A lot of them are. A lot of them, are like, oh no, you're going to take even more of my money. And I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. Those
Not
Legos
sorry.
are expensive. Oh my gosh, those sets are. But it's worth it. But they are
They
expensive.
can be, some are definitely up there.
Now you have ones for Wicked because that's coming out. Do you have ones for like the DC and Marvel films too? Are there sets, Lego sets, or what are some of the cool Lego sets? Are
Right
new
now,
this year?
some of the big ones that we've got, there's also like advent calendars for this year,
Ah.
which I think they did a Marvel, a Star Wars, and a Lego City,
Oh,
all different
neat.
advent calendars, to get ready for the holidays with.
Wow. So now,
We definitely have a couple Marvel sets too, because we're the comic book store, we can't not have Marvel.
yes, of course. So what are some of the big titles that you're looking forward to that are coming up maybe in the fall or for Christmas time in comic books?
For comics.
Yeah.
So this past week they just put out a new Batman book called Absolute Batman.
Okay.
Very big title right now for anybody that's interested in Batman. It reimagines Batman as if he was starting right now,
Oh, wow.
like an alternate universe, and some of his characters that you think are kind of portrayed in a different light.
Yeah.
Including people like Alfred and the Joker and things like that.
That's really interesting. And now, have you seen the new Penguin show?
So far,
On
no,
Max?
but there's only been one issue, and it just came out this past Wednesday.
Well, no,
So I do believe we still have a couple copies left.
Oh yeah, no, I meant the TV show that's on Max.
Oh, the Penguin TV show. Oh,
Yeah.
my God, that has been really good.
Oh, has it? Well, tell me about it because I haven't seen it yet.
So it's Colin Farrell, and you wouldn't know it was Colin Farrell unless they told you, because they get some really good
I've seen the
makeup and
trailers. That's
prosthetics
true.
on him.
Yes. So what's it like?
And it's like if they stuck the DC universe into The Sopranos. Got a very Sopranos feel.
Wow. And
Yep,
it's
but
also
instead it's in
HBO.
Gotham, so you hear about other things that are going on that are going to perk up your comic nerd ears.
Yeah, and Gotham's always been kind of a rough place, so.
Right, definitely.
If anyone
so,
can survive there,
different
it's
kind
the
of crime
Sopranos.
families, but if you're in the outfit, things don't ever change too much.
Right. It's kind of amazing, like how many titles are popping up in different places because they get this on Disney Plus and Penguin, I believe, is on HBO Max, I think, and they're
Yep.
comic books
Penguin's
and
on
films,
HBO
and
Max.
it's such an empire. It's like interesting that there's only it interests me too that there's only like two, like there's DC and Marvel. Is there any like third kind of like publishers that like we don't hear much about that I'm not that I don't
There's
know
definitely
about?
like a lot of smaller independent ones. I guess the third big one after Marvel and DC is called Image.
Okay.
So Image has done things like Spawn, Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely have properties that people know about, but people don't necessarily know that Image is their comic company.
Right, because I mean, I think of myself someone who knows a lot about TV, and I had no idea that Walking Dead was originally a comic book.
Oh yeah, Walking Dead was a comic before it was ever a show.
Huh? Wow.
Yeah.
So that must have like brought some attention to their titles.
Yeah,
and their
definitely
comic books and
some
stuff.
similarities and differences. Especially if you're a fan of the comic. You're watching the show and you're wondering, if the same people are going to die or live or things
Right.
like that. And they definitely took some changes in the shows, which is good. You don't want it to be exactly the same.
True. That's one of the interesting things about this genre too. Is like you can compare like how different actors played a part. Heath Ledger's Joker was different than Joaquin Phoenix's, and you can compare like how different. Compare the difference between the different series of comic books and the films or
Yeah.
TV shows, and it's really interesting how like you can. I think it like kind of it's a good thing because I think it like kind of shows that like text are to be interpreted. You
Yeah.
can find meaning yourself. in it.
100% agree.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about comic books. They have so much like these titles have so much like real true background history, backstory that is something that
Yeah.
just like soaps. And I'm a big soap fan because of that, because I like the backstory and the families. I like to know that it really mattered. Like what happened in 1972, it matters now because it was on the air in 1972, and same with the comic
Yeah.
books. They were published back then, and like people who, whether something is canon or not, is important.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it kind of sets the stage for whether or not people will be long-term fans. If you pull the rug out from under them and tell them that's something they followed in a story, be it comic book, movie, or otherwise, is doesn't count, it makes it hard for somebody to become invested in the future.
It really does. And like if something happens that is same with soap operas, if something happens that is inconsistent with what was established, or people think it's inconsistent, there's an uproar.
Of course.
It's
yeah.
a very vocal fan base and passionate with comics, just as well as with
Passionate is the word.
And it's really nice to see people passionate about books and stories and characters and all this kind of stuff,
Yep.
isn't it?
As long as it's within reason, when you cross the line from passionate to maybe aggressive, then you
True.
gotta re-examine your interests.
Yeah, I've actually been attacked in some flame wars over General Hospital, so I know the feeling. People do get really upset.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, like if you have an opinion about something, it's like, and it's a character someone's watched for 25 years, you got to be careful what you say. So,
True.
Nabil, thank you so much, and we'll have information about this on our website, uticaphoenix.net. I'll have information about the films and also about the things you're doing down at Ravenswood, so your customers can
Awesome.
find
Thank you very
out
much. Thanks for having me on, Ron.
Yeah, thank you. So that was Nabil Kahn from Ravenswood. There's always great stuff that happens in the world of comic books, and so now we're going to go to. We talked about TV shows, talked about movies, we talked about comic books, we talked about films, pretty much every kind of entertainment except music itself. We're a radio station. We're a radio station here, so I'm going to go talk to Jay Easy now. Is on next. And talk about Jay-Z, what's happening in the world of music?
Okay, well, so first of all, hello.
I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for doing this. We had a guest who didn't work out, so it's like he's filling in here, and I appreciate this so much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, basically in the music world, everybody is talking about this Diddy situation.
Yeah, right.
That's like the talk of the town, like for a while. So I'm just waiting to see, how it all plays out. Allegedly there's all kinds of footage and stuff like that, but nothing really, has shown up.
Right. And I wonder why he hasn't.
Who knows? Maybe the FBI is holding it hostage, or
True.
Maybe there's nothing. I mean, I don't know. We're outsiders looking in.
Exactly.
What I mean? So,
right.
who knows what the truth is?
I wonder, do you think it's going to harm the careers of some of the people that are involved, or maybe end the careers of some of the people that are involved if it's as bad as the rumors are?
I mean, possible. Because everybody's trying to find some reason to cancel somebody or things like that. So I mean, we saw what happened with R. Kelly.
Yeah.
So who knows what'll happen? Some people are really, really powerful, and
Yeah.
can't be quote unquote canceled. So
I think sometimes people come down too hard on other artists and performers and celebrities for not doing stuff about these kinds of things when
right,
if
when
you
it
have
happens,
someone if someone is still at the top of their game and super powerful like Harvey Weinstein was in that field, you really can't mess with them. I mean, no matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah, it's unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. All we can do is just see how everything plays out. You know what I mean?
and everything plays out in the end too.
Yeah.
So what about new music? What are you listening to? What are you liking?
Well, right now I listen to a lot of older stuff. You know what I mean?
Me too.
As far as newer stuff, I found this artist Abrina. She's got some good joints. I play her on the show. You know what I mean?
How do you decide what to play on your show?
I just peruse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen to whatever I come across. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll hear something on a TikTok video or something like that, and I'll look up the song itself and make sure there's a clean version so I can play it on the radio.
Oh yeah, right.
That's important.
That is important. We had someone on here once who sang a song with GD, the swear word that we can't say, that I didn't know you couldn't say, but you can't say it.
Yeah.
So you do have to be careful about stuff like that with the FCC and all that.
Yes,
so.
indeed. So
Now,
just TikTok videos, or somebody will just post a video on YouTube, or if people have new releases, then they'll have their YouTube videos, or as they call them, visualizers, where it's not exactly a music video, but the person is in the video, you know, just like doing different scenes or whatever.
Oh,
You know,
I
they
never
call
heard of
that
those.
a visualizer.
Really? So
Yeah.
like, what's different between that and a flat out produced video? Like,
Well, like regular videos, music videos will have like, you know, like a script or something like that, or
yeah, like
you know,
a little
like
film,
like little acting scenes,
Yeah.
or you know, they might actually be, you know, singing the song, you know, performance wise and stuff
Right.
like that. Visualizers are more so, you know, they're just, you know, maybe just walking around or, you know, doing different things, not actually like performing the song.
So like kind of like a lower. So they wouldn't perform the song in the visualizer.
Right, right. They're just, you know, in the video, you know, doing different
Oh.
things, but they're not actually like singing the song, as opposed to music videos where they're
Yeah.
actually like performing the song, you know, in their different scenes.
I was kind of wondering, like nowadays, how the industry can like, how the marketplace can support like, like it like in the old days when I was a kid, like in the 80s and 90s, like every song that came out, there's a
Mhm.
whole video for this. But back then, like you couldn't stream stuff, and every song that you liked, you had to pay to buy it. You know, I
Right.
wonder like how could they probably can't afford to make a video for every song nowadays.
Well, I mean, truth be told, there's money where, you know, music is. Like,
Where is the
whether-
money?
A lot of money, you know, is in like the publishing and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. But these record labels, they have money.
Yeah,
The
in
executives
touring, too,
have
I
money.
imagine.
Yeah, touring too. That's
Yeah.
where a lot of, you know, artists make their money, is off of publishing and touring. That's why you see artists like fight so hard to get their masters or their publishing
Right.
and things like that, or
Those
they might
those
sell
credits
their
on the
right,
the song.
right,
Yeah.
because they're thinking long term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you see different commercials out now that use songs like from the 90s and
Right.
the 2000s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The artists, you know, if they own
Oh,
the
yeah.
rights to it,
They
they're
get a lot
getting
of money
paid
for
off of that.
Right, right. So there's still that. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now, because it's not like you know, I mean, it must be so different. It must be hard to be an artist to know that like if someone likes your song, they can easily like get a copy for free. Whereas like in the past, I guess we had mixtapes and stuff. So in a
Right.
way, we kind of had that, but
Right.
not quite like now. Where like you bring it up on your phone like in a second. You know, it's
Mhm.
like it's funny. I remember back in the 80s, there was Friday Night Videos was a show that was on Friday nights, like
Mhm.
9, like 11, 12, 30, very, very late, like in Friday nights. And there's a song by Patti LaBelle that I saw, like it was like in, I think it was like in the winter time. And I saw this video. I love the song so much, and it didn't come out on record until summertime. It
Mm.
was New Attitude from Beverly Hills Cop. So they
Yeah.
played the video, and I loved the song. I would call the stations up. Do you have a song yet? Nobody did, and like I had to wait and wait and wait and wait until summertime, and it's like it's unimaginable now.
Right.
You know?
That's how, you know, the origin of the mixtape kind of came about. You know, you would wait for the radio to play the song and then hurry
Yep.
up and hit the play and record button at the same time. So
Oh
you
my
could,
gosh, you would
you
wait
know,
all day for your
Right.
song. I
Right.
know.
or call up the radio station and request it, and
And call till they got
Yep.
mad.
right, get on their nerves. It's like, oh my god, I'm playing right now, right? Just
Yep.
leave
yep.
me alone.
And then like you'd be already like every time a song would start to end, you'd be ready with your fingers on the play and record button to like
Mhm.
record it immediately. And then like you'd be, oh, not this song. Oh,
Mhm.
a commercial, you know. It's like-
right.
Yeah. Wow. You know.
But yeah, so you know, nowadays it's just, you know, streaming platforms,
Much
you know, like
easier now.
Spotify, Tidal, and you know, things
Pandora
like
and
that.
stuff.
And, you know, of course, us, you know, DJs.
Yeah.
I really don't like calling myself a DJ, but
Why? You're
us-
a DJ.
yeah, I'm more a radio personality. When I think of DJs,
Oh.
I think of scratching and mixing, like, you know, Dr. Dust does, or like JMC
Oh.
does, or like Bobby Bounce does. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
I you know, play the music.
Yeah.
Like I do blends every now and then, but
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily a quote unquote DJ, like the pick it, you know,
Oh
all
yeah.
that stuff. You know,
But I mean, most people who like hosted radio shows weren't like that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Linda Ray and stuff, they'd play the song, say what it
Yeah.
was, you know. And so sure the DJs now, like, you know,
Right.
so
yeah.
What am I then? If you're not a DJ, what am I? A talk show host, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. I know I'm not a
Because
DJ.
you don't
I'm
play
not good at the
music.
buttons yet. You know, I don't know what to press and stuff.
Yeah, because you don't play
'Cause I'm
music. You know,
music
you're
too, yeah.
interviewer. You know what I mean? So.
That would be the disc is the record. So I
Mhm.
don't have a disc.
But yeah, I said that to say, like, you know, with DJs we subscribe to different record pools and things like that.
Oh,
where
really?
The
Okay.
labels will, you know, upload, you know, send songs to the record pools, and the DJs will
to like
get them up
pitch it
with
to you.
Right.
Oh, that would make sense.
That's
Yeah,
where I get a lot
yeah.
of my stuff from. It's from like the record pools and.
Oh,
things
that's
like that.
interesting. And it must be. Is it hard to get into those pools? You must have to like show your credentials and stuff before they. So.
Some, you know, I have one record pool I subscribe to where it's like, you know, they want, you know, flyers and stuff like that of like parties you've done or the, like, you know, credentials and stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
Or another record pool is like, you know, just pay the fee and. You know,
Oh, to get into it like
Yeah.
that. Do the like the record companies send you a lot of stuff like mailers and stuff like your free CDs? Probably not free CDs
well,
anymore, but
not
you know.
not now, but you know.
But do they
But
give you stuff or
yeah, well, I mean, if you
promotional stuff? I
yeah,
mean,
if you reach out or whatever.
yeah.
One thing I had this one song like from Belle Biv DeVoe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They put out a song with like Rev Run called "Act Like You Know." It was
Yeah.
you know off the soundtrack for Michael Bivins' documentary that he had put out,
Oh,
and yeah, it's like I forget what streaming app it's on, but
Oh,
Michael Bivins. I reached out to Michael Bivins
Yeah.
because he had put it out there like this song was coming.
right.
So DJs send him, you know, emails and stuff like that. So I hit him up, you know,
Yeah.
send him my email and stuff like that, and
Good
he
for
sent me
you.
the song.
Good for you. Yeah.
So I'm like, hey,
I mean, I would kind of think like people would want to like if you're interested, give you stuff. You know, like if
right,
someone wanted to promote my show, I would give them stuff. you
right,
know, it's
right,
like,
right.
so it
Definitely.
makes sense, you know, for publicity and all that. Especially because there's not many stations where the DJs pick the songs. You know, it's like
Yeah, that's why I.
that's what's so great about this pulse here at 95.5. It's so like you know,
Right.
real. You
We,
know,
we play, you know, what we like. What we
Yeah,
want,
and you
know.
can tell that the passion is really real. You
Yes.
can hear that. So.
Yes. And speaking of which, I have to start playing some music
You
now
do have to
because
start.
it
I gotta
is-
sign off, and thank you, listeners, for. I'll be back next week with another Hot Seat Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopferson, and I'm going to kick it over to Jay Easy for the Easy Ride Home.
Broadcasting from Big B Studios.